The Simpsons rarely deals with suicide seriously, but The Boys of Bummer is an exception that many fans find hard to watch. During a baseball game, Bart misses an easy fly ball, costing Springfield the championship. In a normal sitcom, he would be forgiven by the next scene. Instead, the entire town turns into a mob. They boo him relentlessly. They throw things at him. It goes on for days. The harassment becomes so intense that Bart spirals into a deep depression. In the climax, the town forms a hate mob chanting "Bart sucks," and Bart climbs a water tower. He spray paints "Bart sucks" on the side and prepares to jump off. It is a terrifying look at mob mentality. Watching a 10-year-old boy being bullied by hundreds of adults until he wants to end his life is perhaps the bleakest moment in the show's history. Ned Flanders in Simpsons is the nicest man in Springfield. He turns the other cheek no matter what. But in the episode Hurricane Nettie, the show revealed that his kindness isn't a personality trait, it's a symptom of trauma. After a hurricane destroys his house and the townspeople build him a terrible replacement that collapses, Ned finally snaps. He screams at everyone, tearing the town apart with brutal honesty, and eventually checks himself into a mental institution. Through flashbacks, we learn the dark truth. As a child, he was so uncontrollable that his beatnik parents put him through an experimental spankological protocol. They spanked him continuously until he was unable to express anger at all. He suppressed his rage for 30 years, hiding it behind diddlies and doodlies, just to function. It turned a funny catchphrase into a tragic coping mechanism for childhood abuse. Lisa Simpson craved respect, dreaming of being treated like an adult. Tonight, she had the chance to prove herself by babysitting Bart. But Bart wasn't ready to accept his little sister's authority. In a moment of anger, he hurt himself to spite her. The sickening sound echoed through the house. Panic set in as she realized the gravity of the situation. Calling their parents would ruin her reputation. Desperate, she decided to hide Bart's injury. She dragged Bart's limp body through the mud. The streets were eerily quiet, amplifying her fear. To onlookers, it looked like a crime scene. She was covered in mud, frantic and desperate. Each step felt heavier, the weight of her decision crushing her. The dark truth began to unfold. Sometimes pride leads to dangerous choices. She was a child yet burdened with adult consequences. The night felt endless, filled with dread. In that moment, Lisa learned a harsh lesson about responsibility. Imagine a student exchange trip that turns into a nightmare. Bart arrives in France expecting fun and adventure. But reality hits hard when he meets his hosts. Stripped of his belongings, Bart feels trapped. Forced into hard labor, he carries heavy buckets. He sleeps on the floor feeling hopeless. Starvation gnaws at him day by day. He tries to escape, but language barriers bind him. Isolated and scared, he feels utterly alone. Then he discovers the horrifying truth. Antifreeze is being mixed into the wine. He realizes he's part of a crime he can't stop. Survival instinct kicks in. He learns French. He runs to a police officer, pleading for help. Finally, he is rescued from his nightmare. He returns home, a hero in the eyes of many. But the scars of his experience linger. This wasn't just an adventure, it was a traumatic ordeal. In a quiet Springfield, Bart and Lisa are known for their pranks, but today things take a dark turn. At a cliffside observatory, their prank goes horribly wrong. Martin Prince tumbles over the edge and panic sets in. They look down, but Martin's body is gone. In a state of shock, they decide to cover up their mistake. They bury their clothes, desperate to hide the evidence. Lying to their parents feels like a betrayal. They even deceive the police, feeling the walls close in. Lisa, usually the moral compass, begins to crumble under guilt. The fear of prison haunts her every thought. Bart feels the pressure too, and paranoia sets in. They start turning on each other, trust eroding. The weight of their actions becomes unbearable. Just when it seems hopeless, a twist reveals Martin is alive. But the damage is done, innocence lost. They realize even good kids can hide a body. This was a lesson in morality and fear. In Springfield, even the brightest can fall into darkness. Sideshow Bob is often a comedic villain, but in Cape Fear, he transforms into a chilling monster. He sends Bart blood-ridden letters, escalating the tension. The family enters witness protection, becoming the Thompsons. Bob's relentless pursuit is terrifying. He isn't after money, he wants revenge. The climax unfolds on a drifting houseboat. Bob corners Bart in his bedroom. He holds a massive knife, ready to strike. The silence is deafening, only the boat creaks. Bob calmly declares, "I'm going to kill you." The humor returns later, but the horror remains. This episode is a masterpiece of dark comedy and horror. Homer Simpson has faced death countless times, but one moment truly shook him. After a bite, he learns from the doctor he has just 24 hours to live. The comedy fades, replaced by a haunting reality. He listens to Lisa's saxophone, tears welling in his eyes. He records a video message for little Maggie. The final night, he sits alone in the living room. He listens to the Bible on tape, accepting his fate. Marge finds him the next morning, still and silent. For a moment, the audience believes he is gone. Suddenly, he wakes up, alive and breathing. He vows to live life to the fullest. The credits roll as he indulges in junk food again. It's a dark reminder of human nature. Even near-death experiences rarely change us. We laugh, we cry, but do we truly learn? Life goes on, filled with choices and consequences. Each moment is precious yet fleeting. Homer's journey reminds us to cherish every second. It all begins with a classic Bart prank, a moment of mischief that spirals into chaos. Bart, a skeptic of the unseen, sells his soul to Milhouse for just $5. He thinks he outsmarted Milhouse, but soon, the world begins to change. Automatic doors refuse to open, pets hiss, and something feels deeply wrong. The chilling moment arrives when he breathes on a cold window. No fog appears. He realizes he is physically empty, a prank gone horribly wrong. The nightmare deepens as he dreams of his friends, their glowing souls visible. Bart, alone in a boat, drifts in the dark, consumed by isolation. Desperation drives him to wander the streets at night, searching for Milhouse. He mutters to himself, a madman lost in his thoughts. No longer the cool prankster, he's just a scared little boy. Finally, he finds the paper, his last hope. In a moment of sheer panic, he eats the paper. Consuming it, he hopes to feel whole again. Whether souls are real or not, the horror is palpable. This episode reveals the true terror of losing one's humanity. The line between prank and nightmare blurs. In the end, it's a story of vulnerability and the search for identity. The Simpsons often presents emotional neglect as a norm, subtly woven into the fabric of family life. Moments of indifference are portrayed humorously, masking the underlying pain. The show captures quiet suffering, often overlooked by the characters themselves. These moments rarely receive the gravity they deserve in the narrative. The humor often distracts from the deeper emotional currents running beneath. Characters often brush off significant emotional events as trivial. The normalization of these experiences creates a dissonance for viewers. These themes resonate deeply, yet they're often masked by humor. The show's portrayal of indifference becomes a lens for understanding real-life issues. The emotional neglect is subtle yet profound, echoing in the laughter. These moments challenge the viewer to reflect on their own experiences. The show's comedic framing often dulls the impact of these themes. The emotional landscape is rich yet often ignored. Each character's struggle is a reflection of broader societal issues. The humor serves as a coping mechanism for both characters and viewers. Emotional neglect becomes a silent character in the narrative. The show's legacy includes this complex emotional tapestry. These reflections linger long after the laughter fades. The Simpsons often masks dark themes beneath its humor, revealing unsettling truths about society. Episodes like Lisa's Substitute expose the emotional neglect children face, leaving a lasting impact. The character of Mr. Burns embodies corporate greed, showcasing the dehumanizing effects of capitalism. Homer's phobia tackles homophobia, yet the resolution feels forced, reflecting societal discomfort. The recurring theme of addiction, particularly in Homer's struggles, highlights the impact on family dynamics. The Springfield Files presents paranoia and conspiracy, mirroring real-world fears of surveillance. The portrayal of mental illness, especially in characters like Apu, often goes unaddressed. The series frequently touches on mortality, as seen in the haunting episode And Maggie Makes 3. The depiction of dysfunctional families raises questions about the normalization of toxic relationships. Characters like Nelson and Milhouse illustrate the harsh realities of bullying and its consequences. The show's exploration of failure, particularly Homer's job struggles, resonates with adult viewers. The Itchy and Scratchy Show serves as a dark commentary on violence in media. The character of Ned Flanders reveals the dark side of blind faith and hypocrisy. The episode The Longest Daycare subtly critiques societal expectations of children. The portrayal of Springfield as a microcosm of societal flaws reveals deeper truths. Moments of existential dread, particularly in Homer's journey, resonate with adult fears. The series often presents a bleak view of the American dream, challenging its idealism. Ultimately, The Simpsons serves as a mirror, reflecting the darker aspects of human nature.